good evening, and welcome, everyone. Peace and welcome to Enchanted Expressions Beyond the Conversation. Right here in the Enchanted Life Transform Your Life Facebook page and the Etheric Touch Facebook page and streaming live on Facebook on Tanya Inspires. I am so excited to be here with you this evening for episode number 2 of Enchanted Expressions Beyond the Conversation, where simply stated, it's more than just talk, more than just talk. I'm delighted to be here today, episode 2 with our special guest. But let me just lay a little bit of background on where we're going and what we're doing today. This morning, it came to me after really going through the Facebook page and really just kind of flipping through Facebook. I hadn't been on in a while, and something that kept resonating and coming up was that people are seeking. People are seeking answers. People are seeking help. People are seeking and don't even know what it is that they're seeking, but we're on this search. And intuitively, many of us know that something in our lives and something in this world around us desperately needs to change. We're beginning to realize that we need to radically adjust our way of thinking, perceiving, being, and behaving. And we're beginning to wake up, the awakening to the need to shift our focus from the external world to the boundlessly rich internal world. And in other words, we need to learn how to reconnect with our souls. And so many of us are seeking what I call a spiritual awakening. And let me just clarify, I'm not talking about an organization. I'm not talking about seeking anything else or anywhere else except within yourself. Okay? Reconnecting with your own damn self. Okay, our world is so caught up in progressing externally, in the evolution of our economies, in the advancement of technologies, which I can't keep up with, and it's always the improvement of what our material lives consist of. But we've forgotten totally to explore our internal lives, where the source of our power and the source of our being really exists. We find ourselves, many of us have found ourselves in a place where there is this profound inner confusion and inner emptiness and turmoil, really looking for a path that can help us to find ourselves, to heal our wounds. And I'm calling this process an inner work that really involves us going deeper in ourselves and working within ourselves so that our souls can heal and express and experience those gifts that have been passed down to us through our ancestors, generationally. What is in not only our soul, but what is in every cell of our being. where we are right now is a place where we really want to begin to understand where I am and what I have found. Um, and particularly in this group, where when we first introduced ourselves, there wasn't a person who didn't use the word seeking. Okay. I'm looking for something. I'm not comfortable. Nobody understands me. And my experience has shown me that what we're looking for, and the way to find it really begins in that spiritual awakening. And that awakening impacts us mentally, physically, familially, emotionally, financially, sexually, all of the leads, okay, that really encompass who we really are. We're really seeking to find freedom, our own personal freedom. And in order to get there, what I'm saying is that we need to begin that spiritual awakening process. This is a quote. Once the soul awakens, the search begins, and you can never go back. From then on, you are inflamed with this special longing that will never again let you linger in the lowlands of complacency and partial fulfillment. Nobody is like us. Nobody understands us. People think we're weird. We think we're crazy. Okay. We're hearing things. We're seeing things. We're feeling things. We're experiencing things that cannot be explained. Well, I need to share with you that I found a place, and I found a family where I could finally um, be at home. I found my tribe. And in finding this tribe, my journey began with wow, the word, I can't even explain the word, to, to a queen who has become my daughter, my sister, my friend, my healer. All right. And this is why I am here in Enchanted Expressions, taking an opportunity to really walk through this path and begin to share with you just a little bit about what I experience. So I am going to bring up out of the green room our special guest. Ta-da! Looking absolutely fabulous. Osuntola, the Enchantress. Welcome.
Hey,
Peace,
hey, peace, peace, peace. So
peace, peace,
excited to
peace.
be here.
A place where we can act like that. Welcome. You are looking fabulous.
Thank you, Madre. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank
Yes,
you.
yes, yes. So first, I have to do the official introduction, and let me go back over here. I'm driving over here. Welcome to our guest. Welcome, welcome. Make sure that you go in and agree for your name to appear here. Okay, our special guests is here. I want you to give us a shout out on Facebook, and we can show the messages that come up. But first, let me officially introduce Osuntala the Enchantress. I love that.
Hey,
Um, she is an energy worker and oracle, originally from New York City. Hey.
you know.
Yeah, I love it here because we could just be ourselves. She now
Yes.
resides in North Carolina, She is a wife and a mother of 5 children, 3 stepchildren, and a grandson. She began her journey into the history and culture of the indigenous people in 2007. And her spiritual journey began in 2009. And so many of us can relate to that. It has been a long journey, to get to this point, which I still consider the beginning, but we'll talk about that.
That's right.
Yes, her journey into holistic living propelled while her husband was battling a terminal illness called aplastic anemia and was given 18 months to live. And we know that was a lie because he was our first guest. All right, our first guest a couple of weeks ago with her husband. When her husband expressed frustration with conventional medicine and his declaration to utilize natural medicines to overcome the disease, she dedicated herself to learning various indigenous healing modalities to restore his health. Over the last 12 years, she has transitioned not only herself, but her family into a holistic lifestyle. And she has done the work with a BS degree in alternative medicine, as well as certifications in 4 different styles of Reiki. She teaches the specialized healing system that she developed called the etheric touch. Since her husband's original diagnosis, he has been free of pharmaceutical medicines and has been able to overcome his illness within a time span of 10 years. What Osuntola does is she assists clients in aligning their mind and body with their spirit by holding seminars and workshops based on nutrition and spiritual development. She also teaches people through the Etheric Touch certification program. I'm a graduate.
Yes.
On how to transition into a holistic lifestyle using energy work, divinations, intimacy coaching, and nutrition. She is also a certified holistic doula and an ordained minister through the Universal Life Church. Her passion is to serve people of color. She advocates for African American women by supporting sisterhood, women's empowerment. It is her mission to empower and heal her community by using various indigenous modalities that she has used over the past 12 years. We could go on and on. Welcome, dear Queen Osuntola, the Enchantress. Tell us how you're feeling today.
You make me sound so fly, yo. Like, you make me sound so fly. Like, wow, I did all of that.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. And we thank you for that. We thank you for the sacrifice of that.
Thank
all right.
you. I
Because
appreciate
it
that.
is made, I'm a witness. All right. I am a personal witness, and I am a witness in the collective where we serve, that what you share is life altering.
Thank you.
All right. Not only to ourselves, but to our families and our ability to reconnect and reawaken our connection, with our ancestors and the practices that we can continue to begin to really make a difference in our own lives. And really transforming, pretty much everything that we touch. So
Everything.
today, everything. So today is a national holiday. Tell
Today
us
is
about
a national holiday. Yes, today is National Enchanted Life Day. Hey, we've been officially in business now for 2 years. So this is like really monumental to us. It was not, being here today and accomplishing the things that we have and seeing the various transformations in people's lives and people standing in their energy, especially, Black women standing in their power, has been such an adventure, like one of the most exciting adventures of my life. And I'm just really thankful to be able to pay it forward as it was given to me. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm excited. It's a great
Yes,
day.
yes, yes, yes. And I was going to save this story for my opportunity to be on the show, but I'm just going to. I have to share with the audience what my experience of Osuntola is. And we met in a business group, and there was just something about her. And I
Mm.
know when you look at her now, you see that it was something about her look, something about what she was saying, but not everybody really understood because
That is common.
yes, it is common. Yes. Thank you, Halonaru. Yes, congratulations to us. But it was just her attempt to try and explain that 12-year journey to now in a way that others could accept or be able to listen to, hear.
Yes.
But I heard something different.
Mm.
I heard something different. And it was just like, and this happens so often. It was like, I hear what the words are. I hear what the words are, but I'm feeling what she's saying in a way that I notice other people are not. So I was immediately drawn to her because there was a connection about like
Mm.
coming home. And I'll fast forward to the part of my first meeting, with her and Conjure. I was pressed. I had to go and see her. I had to go and visit them. I had experienced the loss of a good friend, and I'm usually a pretty together person, at least on the outside. But I had really fallen apart. I was heartbroken and really didn't know like what to do and where to go. It was Osuntola and Conjure that the love just drew me there. And I will just explain it this way. Um, the universe or circumstances tried everything they could, okay, in addition to totally emptying my bank account,
Mhm.
okay. On the night before, I was scheduled to get on a plane to fly to North Carolina. But in spite of that, with about $20 in my
Mm.
pocket,
Wow.
I got on the plane because I had to go. I had to go. And I sat at the airport trying to figure out now how am I going to get from the airport to where it is that I needed to go. And even though all of my accounts were emptied and I had no credit line on any of my cards, okay, I went to the restroom. My wallet fell open, and there was another card. And I was like, oh, maybe I can use this for a car rental. You call and you go, okay, well, maybe they'll let me slide with this. And that's exactly what happened.
Wow.
So I found my way to her place, their place. And I'll just say this, on the outside, it's a very humble home. On the inside, with a different set of eyes, it's a very humble place. But what I experienced was the beginning of my spiritual awakening, because what I saw and what I experienced have been life changing. So I just had to find out more. And I found myself in the etheric touch learning and on to really the awakening that I have experienced that has been life changing. So I thank you for your obedience.
Mm.
I thank you for your sacrifice in being in a place that you could not only support me, but help me through that journey. So, enough about that. Let's talk about what brought you to this place. What brought you to this place? We have the official, the official dialogue, but how did you get here in a position to serve us?
Okay. Well, first of all, it's my pleasure, and you already know it's always my pleasure. It excites us, my husband and I. It excites Conjuring us to see so many people being able to connect with themselves and find the power within themselves and stand in that power is a beautiful thing to witness. And we'll get back into that. I will answer your question, but we'll get back into it. But one of the things that is said is that when you are undergoing your spiritual transition, then
Mhm.
there needs to be a witness to it. There needs to be a witness to the healing that is taking place. And it's not about necessarily that it's because it's sacred, it's private, it's not for us to share everything, But as that transition is going, you're going through that transition, there should be a witness to it to be able to affirm to you that
Mhm.
somebody has been able to see you and somebody has been able to walk with you and somebody has been able to say, like, yes, this is what you did. I was there. I've witnessed this transformation. Like, it's not a validation, but it's a confirmation of the journey that you've been on. So I just
Mhm.
want to add that on really, really quickly. Um, so yeah, we've been living this lifestyle now for 12 years. And I'm very, very thankful because in those 12 years, I've had the ability to work hand in hand, really, with all of my teachers. Like, my teachers have been my mentors, and those mentors became friends, and those friends became family. And so, like, truthfully, for me, like, as I was learning, I was facilitating too. Like, I was learning that because of my teachers.
Mhm.
So, a lot of what I've learned over the years came from practical application. And my husband's when my husband first got diagnosed with the disease back in 2007, he actually, and he talked about this when he talked to you, I think last week or the week before, but he had to go through, the traditional way, and it really sucked for him, and he felt like dying, and he was like, I'd rather die than to take the medication, so I'm not doing it. And what really stands out to me the most about that period of time is when we went to go see the doctors in Chapel Hill. They said that I asked them about, because I had started, when he told me he wanted to go the natural route, I started going to college to try to get as much information as possible, as well as my own personal research and the research of my teachers. And when we went to see the doctors, I was like, well, do you do integrative medicine? Do you combine orthodox medicine with natural medicine? And he said, well, fitness is great. And I just had like I just had like the dumbest look on my face, like fitness. Like I'm not talking, like it's so much more than fitness. And at that point, I think was the most influential point of the journey of how it was really going to be something that we journeyed together, and that it was not going to be necessarily the type of support that we thought that we needed, but the support that we needed came. Like we attracted it to us. It was, we were able to get what it was that he needed, to be able to be pharmaceutical free for 10 years and symptom free for 10 years. And then, you know, a couple years ago, he regressed and it came back. And when it came back, I was working in corporate America, and I was like, you know, I could do this for corporate America. You know what I'm saying? Like I could, you know, work my way into that position. And the universe was like, I like how you tried that. Because he went back into regression, and it put me in a position where I could not go back to work. Like there was no way I was able to balance how much she needed from me at the time and balance going back to work. So the universe quite literally like kicked me out into it and forced me to believe that I was more than enough to be able to do it. I love being a student. And so being a teacher in this capacity was really kind of nerve-wracking. But the universe was like, okay, well, get over it because you're going to do it anyway. And I was like, well, you're right. I'm going to do it anyway. And so I tried, and I gathered a few people that I knew, and I asked them to take it, and they love it. And then from that part, it really, you know, changed and helped to shift their perspectives in their lives, the way they were already practicing. Like some people come in, you know, in search of, other people already have an idea or maybe have a foundation, but just need pieces of the puzzle to be put together differently. Yes. Like sometimes the information just has to be said differently for you to understand it differently. And because of that process, it ended up shifting so many lives really, really quickly, more quickly than I think I was really prepared for. And now we're here. So 2 years in, we have enrolled over 100 students, I think, into the Etheric Touch program. Yes. And so I'm just really humbled, really honored that people trust me to walk with them, to trust us to walk with them, because yeah, you know, you want to be able to, and this path that you're on, there's a place that you need to be able to go to that allows you to feel safe, and it allows you to feel vulnerable. And I'm thankful that we were able to create that space.
So in leading and guiding others on that, what I call the unusual path, the path to awakening, is there a particular process? Like what process did you find was most beneficial in getting folks on that path, on that journey?
Yes. So typically speaking, when we meet people or people are drawn to us, we already understand why they're drawn to us. And we already, and so we're now investigating or analyzing, observing exactly how we are to come into play and helping to develop that person's spiritual growth, right? And most of the time when people come to us, they come from a space of emptiness. They come from a space of feeling like something is missing and not being able to quite put their finger on what that is that's missing. And what it really is that when you get to that place, your spirit, your soul is calling. It's calling for you to connect. And what we do here in the Enchanted Life through the Etheric Touch Healing System is give you that opportunity to truly connect with your spirit. And for most of us, that's the first time that ever happens. And so we develop the program in order for certain things to happen. And from my own personal experience, if you actually follow the tools and allow the tools to become consistent in your life, make it part of your daily routine, then you will see a transformation happening in your life over time. And so that process looks like, well, you're empty. And so we need to feed you. Come to this buffet. And that first buffet meal is the meal of yourself.
Yes.
Love yourself first. There's nobody more important than you are in your life. And it's important for you to be able to have this knowing of your soul, your spirit. It's important for you to feel that before you do anything else, because ultimately the power you're searching for is already there within you. There's nothing missing. There's no holes. There's no spaces. There's no brokenness. There's like you are made perfectly, even in our imperfections. And so many times we are beating ourselves up for those imperfections that we can actually shut off the voice to our soul because our ego is so loud.
Yes.
And so the first level of the etheric touch healing system is self-care. You get to learn and interact with, for some of us, the first time with your spirit. You can start to see yourself as being one with nature, as being one with the universe, as being one with God. God said he created us in his image. Jesus said that we would do greater things than even he. So let's get to those greater things. But how do I tap into that? Well, let's go within. It's an internal love affair. And you deserve to be loved, and you deserve to be loved well. But if you don't know how to love yourself, then how can you truly share that love with anybody else? And so that's the first step in the process. And then as the spiritual awakening is happening and you start to be like, oh, look at me. Oh, shoot, I didn't even know that this power was in me or whatever. Then we add on a little more and introduce you to your folks, your people, your ancestors, the ones that they have kept us away from. Like that, our ancestors are the missing link to the roots that we've been disconnected from through slavery and in Christian. I ain't gonna say I'm not going into religion because I really don't care about what you believe, as long as you are able to tap into the source within. And that can come, like, the roads to God is many. There's many paths to God. So whatever road you decide to go on, that's fine, as long as you can connect to God within yourself, you know? And so that next part of it, like in indigenous cultures, ancestral reverence was a key part of the culture of the life. You know, you couldn't, they would honor them in such a way because they understood that we are all one. Like, they are a part of us. They live within our DNA. If it was not for our ancestors, you would not be here. I would not be here. We would not be here. No matter what the circumstances of the times they lived in, they had to make it through their own gifts that through DNA was given to you. And so anytime we're saying, like, we're not going to honor our ancestors, we're actually taking away from a part of ourselves, you know? And it's our ancestors that help to guide us. And it's our ancestors that work hand in hand with us. And it's our ancestors that protect us from everything and anything. Like, they conspire on our behalf. They move things before we ask. And it's important in this developmental process for you to understand that you are never truly alone, because your ancestors is always standing here as an entourage.
Yes.
And this entourage is here because I'm sweating so much. Oh my goodness, please. I got the fan going and everything. But yeah, so, you know, ultimately in this spiritual developmental process, though, what we strive for is for us to start looking at our lives in a more holistic manner. So even going back to the doctors, like, they tend to look at our ailments in a symptomatic way. Oh, this is this, so let me fix this. Oh, but that is that, and it has nothing to do with this. But the truth is that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So as spiritual beings, we have to deal with our spirit. We need to deal with our minds. We need to deal with our emotions. We have to deal with our physical body. We need to deal with all the energies that come with that. You know what I'm saying? And so, our goal is to bring us back into a holistic perspective. And specifically, one of the ways that you introduced tonight was that we are specific to people of color. And that is definitely a fact, because we tend to be the ones that are forgotten. And I honestly feel that the more of us that awaken to the true power that we all hold through our spirits and our souls and our ancestors, that would heal our community. And then from our community, it would continue to as a ripple effect throughout the world. And now we have changed humanity. And so, it's my life purpose.
Yes. It is something, and what the historical facts are, is that there was a deliberate, and there continue to be deliberate attempts to distract us from that. Okay. To distract us from connecting with our source. And pointing us in the direction of seeking it from the world, seeking it from the external, from what appears to be tangible, right? When in fact, that's not what it is.
Absolutely.
So in that journey, to first discovering ourselves, okay, and then connecting with our ancestors, what are some of the learnings that are helpful to getting us, I guess, up the ladder, all right, to that other place, where we can operate in our maximum power?
I think that is really an interesting thing, because we have been so conditioned to only consider the material world, the physical world. And so in this process, there's a development that happens that allows you to also work with spirit. And the beautiful thing is, like, a lot of times when people first start delving into magic, they want to start working with deities right away. Like, depending on what system you're dealing with, they want to, deal with, in Ifa, they want to deal with the Orisha, and in the Kemet, ancient Kemet, they want to deal with the deities of Kemet, like Osiris and Asar and Aset and whomever. But your ancestors are the foundational aspect of things that allows you to delicately learn how to navigate the spiritual realm. It's kind of like, when you were a kid, your mom didn't just send you to the airport, across the country by yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was, okay, I got this for you. This is packed. I'll hold your hand. I'll make sure you're good. That's what the ancestors do in the spiritual realm. And so it's so important for us not to try to jump over that. But really connect with it. But then in addition to that, your self-care process allows you to connect with your own spirit, so you can even hear what the ancestors are saying. Like, if you can't be comfortable with going into yourself, then it can be really difficult to be able to cipher through the different energies that may be trying to communicate. And so the process, I would say, is, like I said, is really like a buffet. That's the only way that I can think to explain it. Like, you come and you're emptied, and then we're like, okay, well, let's eat then. You know what I'm saying? And not just like from the perspective of like, I'm going to cook, I'm going to clean, you're going to do what I say. It's more of, let's cook together, and let's sit down at this table together, and let's build together and feel safe to be able to share, the weirdness, and be comfortable being able to express the the truth of what your soul is saying. Like, I know there's introverts, I know there are introverts, and I'm cool with that. But I tend to feel that some introverts think that they're introverted because their ability to express themselves have been shut down so many times that
Mm.
they just prefer to stay hidden within themselves. And so in this process, what I have seen is the development of many different variations, attributes of personalities, but it all starts with like this profound awakening or activation happens
Mm.
that I didn't even realize this could happen, or I didn't even realize it was there, or I thought that it was a myth. And like, I guess for me, like, that's the exciting part of it. Is like, we think that these things are myths, but we are actually able to live out the myth. Like, our lives are myths. We are magical, mystical beings here. Like, isn't it amazing that we live on Earth? Like, we look for these extraterrestrial beings, but we are the extraterrestrials. We're flying through space right now. Like, that's no different. And so, when we start to understand how we are all related and the vast potential that the universe has to offer, and that we have the ability to tap into that source for our own personal empowerment, and it awakens your soul. It awakens your spirit in a way, just like the quote said. It said that once you have that calling, your soul keeps calling out to you for you to feed it. And
Yes.
as you feed your soul, it begins to unfold this mystical, magical wonderland that becomes your life. And you're forever fulfilled, even in the pursuit of your destiny and your purpose here.
Yes. Absolutely. There is, and there are many ways that that happens. As many people as they are, there may be similarities, but as you go in is when the discovery happens.
Yes.
Okay. And that's what society is telling us, on the surface not to do. Society is saying conform. Okay, get in line, raise your hand to ask a question, stand up when I walk in the room, but don't honor your ancestors. Forget where you came from. All right. All of
Yes.
the things that are totally opposite to getting into who we are and beginning to awaken,
Yes.
that.
Yes.
So in that awakening, what are some of the battles that we struggle with sometimes?
Of course, because this is new, one of the biggest battles is consistency, making it part of the daily routine. But
Mm.
then for those of us that are able to consistently do something, and I think that with the etheric touch that we give so many tools to tap in, that you can decide which tool you want to use. It does not have to. I think the beauty is that it doesn't have to look the same every day. Your practice will change over time. The etheric touch has changed in 2 years dramatically. Okay.
Yes.
From what I intended to what it is today. So we're constantly changing, we're constantly shifting. And one of the things, like when we get into adulthood, I think we start to just be like, well, I'm adult, I'm adult. I've done that. I've been there. I've done that, and we kind of stagnate ourselves from being able to continue to expand. And
Mm.
so, what ends up happening through this cultivation of learning your spirit, what ends up happening is that you start to encounter what we call shadows, which is really your own inner darkness. The things about you that other people might feel annoying. It can be something that's annoying to you, things you don't really want to talk about, like, what you may consider a weakness in your life. Like, those things start to come up, and it'll be like slapping you in the face all of a sudden, like, so you thought you was good with just that? No, you got some cleaning to do. And the beautiful thing about what I have learned about shadow work and working with my own shadows and working with my ancestors, it taught me that some of the shadows that I have were the shadows that they had.
Yes.
And that part was the part that helped to heal the part of me that felt like I wasn't enough or that I was broken. Because, oh, this is not just, growing up, like for me, it came out kind of explosive. I would explode, like my anger, like boom. And they would be like, you got an attitude problem. You need to learn to calm down, da 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 da. And then I found out one of my ancestors used to get so mad that she would pop bobby pins out her head. And I was like, oh, okay. So it's not just me, and I can see this throughout my family, how
Yes.
this anger, this rage may come up. So now that I can see it and I can be aware of it, I can start working on it. And so it became something to where now what I would have considered a weakness became a strength.
Yes.
Because I don't have to yell, but I can. I don't have to explode, but I will when the circumstances that are presented warrant that explosion. But it does not have to be what I thought was coincidental.
Yes.
And so healing those shadows and being able to confront those shadows and be aware of those shadows while still doing the work, while still asking, speaking with your ancestors, creating this relationship with your ancestors, it helps for us to break the cycles, the patterns that we see, keep replaying over and over in our lives. It helps to heal the pain that you feel, this looming cloud that kind of follow us throughout life. It helps to alleviate that. And then it helps to repair the generational trauma of the generations, not just with you, but before you and for the generations to come. And so the beauty in that is that my daughters don't have to confront the same generational traumas that I have. They have their own that they will have to deal with because, I'm doing the best I can. We talking about generations, stemming back to the end of time. So there's things that we all can clean up, but the things that I've experienced, my daughters won't have to because I've already cleaned up that trauma, in my own personal healing. And so that's why I feel like this journey is so sacred. And it's not meant to necessarily share with everybody. Like when you first get on this journey, you're so excited because like, oh my God, like this is me and I feel these things about myself. And now I need to tell you because if you knew the truth, then, but people are going to be like, what? And so it's a sacred journey. And so with the Enchanted Life, what we have done, what our mission has been, was to create the space so that you're not looked at that way here. You can express these things here. You can talk about the healing that is going on within you. You can get support and resources continuously to guide you through it, because ultimately, like, we all want our lives to be magical. Like, it's our own self-doubt, it's our own doubts, it's our own programmings, it's our own conditionings that are the blockages that keep us from the magic, that keep us from the enchanted. And so what our attempt to do is to help you to transition, to build this foundation, to transition into having a more spiritual lifestyle in order for you to be able to experience the magic of life, because we're all magical beings. We just have forgotten how to tap in, and we are here to help you to remember.
So the shadows are really there to be dealt with so that we can move forward.
Absolutely.
And we have the tendency to run away from that, right?
Yes.
And society wants us to medicate that.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I want to say sometimes you need, a combination. You need the right kind of help,
Yes.
during those discoveries.
Absolutely.
So it's not just a one and done thing. All right.
No.
In those discoveries, and I'm just speaking from my own experience, that, the help that you seek comes not only from yourself internally, but also externally, because trauma is real.
Trauma is real. It is real. And definitely, a component of it, which if you decide to enroll into the etheric touch, we have created a system in our registration process in order to assess if you're able to be able to handle the tools that are going to be given. Because this is we're talking about transforming our lives. Like, we're not talking about, oh, I'm just going to plug into this class right quick and take some notes and then go about life. Like, if you decide to work the tools, it's going to transform your life. And in that process, it's going to bring up things that you did not think that you wanted to confront. And you need to be able to handle the transition, the shift. And so, we encourage you to seek mental health. We encourage you to speak to, your mental health therapist or your counselors about this transition to ensure that you are able to deal with it. Because, mental health, they're able to help you work through those shadows. You know what I'm saying? And they're able to help you to stabilize your mind, and then in conjunction with the etheric touch, once you are able to stable the mind, then we can now feed the mind something new.
Exactly. We need to make room. So I like to, in my own journey, okay, what I have found is in the shadow, I have found the golden light.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's in going through that and doing the work, okay, because it's not something that you can't fake it, because it's going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to come out. But actually doing the work and seeking the assistance and, taking that journey, expressing yourself, learning, practicing, all of that action. I'm a very action oriented person.
Yes.
Okay. If you always do what you always done, you always get what you always got. You have to do the work. You have to make the changes. You have to have the acceptance, and everybody finds it in its, that in their own time.
Yes.
In their own time. So you're absolutely right. I think, I just keep coming to class.
You did come a few times.
But that's what the discovery is,
Yes.
And it's not, I don't want to say it is magic, but it's not always instant. It's not.
It's an adventure. And I think that makes it a little bit different. Like, when I think of adventure, I think of something that is going to be long lasting and enduring. Like, you're going to need to be able to have stamina and endurance to be able to go on this journey, because it's a lifelong journey. And so when we talk about the etheric touch and we're talking about the enchanted life, we're talking about this transitional period from one way of being to a different way of being. And yes, like, it's not we're in our society, we're so used to everything being fast paced, the rat race, fast food, microwave, whatever, that we are not used to taking our time, having patience, being patient, quietness, silence, the beauty of silence, And sometimes we even find ourselves uncomfortable with slowing down, with silence, with the peace, because we're so used to chaos. And so understanding that, like, now that we are aware, what we are doing is trying to balance our lives, find the middle path. Not that we're going to like this super utopia or whatever, but that we don't have to live in hell either. Like, let's walk that middle line. Let's walk that middle path. Let's enjoy our lives. Let's have the pleasure of life while we are enduring our shadows.
Yes, we have fun.
Because it's an adventure. And I think that, yes, there's work, but what isn't work? You know what I'm saying? Like, anything worth having you have to put the work in. Like, that's part of it. However, there's an adventure. And one of the things and I know you can attest to this, Madre, one of the things for me is that every time things get to looking a little chaotic, I go ahead, I work through it. Like let's not suppress it anymore. Let's not try to tuck it in the closet anymore. Let's just confront it. Okay. And in confronting it with the tools that I've had with the assistance of my ancestors, right on the other side, be something extremely magical. Like, yo, I can't even believe this happened. Like, and what it does is it affirms you. It helps you to heal. And then all the glory, all the glory is coming down upon you because you did it. Like, you've done the work to be in alignment with spirit, that they have now blessed you with a miracle.
Yes.
Which is the enchanted life, which is the magic. And so it's very much like, yeah, we have to do some work. Yeah, I need to learn these tools. But once I got the tool, now I get to tap into a realm that I may not even have known existed.
Exactly. Exactly. What I have experienced in this life is that, and you said it earlier, it was about people are looking for answers. They're looking for the one and done answers. All right. And then they're also relying more on someone else than they are themselves. And that's how I believe, and this is, of course, just come to me. That happens
all the time.
All the time. Is that that's how we get distracted. We're looking for somebody else to throw some cards, okay, and then only go on what it is that someone else says who hasn't necessarily been verified.
That part, that's really interesting. And I think I just wrote a blog about this Monday, actually. However, so one of the things is that because of our excitement about finding out something new, about learning something new, our awareness has expanded some. We get so excited that we will open ourselves up to anybody and forget to vet them. But nowadays, we know that when we go on a date with somebody, that we have to Google them. Or we know that when we are, looking for a doctor, we need to look for their reviews. We don't buy a car without reviews. Everything has reviews, but because of the excitement, we forget to vet the people that we're going to. And what ends up happening is that you start relying on them to, I don't even want to use the word guide. That's not even the right word, to lead you.
Yes.
And what we don't want to do is lead you anywhere. We want to guide you until you're able to walk on your own. And now we can walk together, because you understand, like we understand each other. And so, in this spiritual journey that people are on, it is important. And it's one of the reasons why we created the Etheric Touch, because you need to be able to hear your own higher self. You need to be able to hear your own soul speak, because as a reader, I'm just picking up on what the energy is saying, but somebody can tell you something that is not good for you, and your higher self will be like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing that. But if you don't know what that sounds like, or you don't know what that is, then you are easily led astray.
Yes.
And that's really what's been going on with us as a society anyway. We're following the leader instead of taking responsibility and accountability for ourselves. And if only we would mind our own business, if only we would mind our own business, focus on our own development and our own empowerment, that alone will help to shift the paradigm. It will help to shift humanity. It will help to shift the consciousness of the universe. It will elevate us as a people, as a humanity. But we're so focused on following the leader. And so with the Etheric Touch, our goal is to empower you to depend on yourself.
I love that. I hear him in the background now.
You already know. He's like, I'm part of the conversation.
Yeah. I love it. It's just like the two of you are just so amazing. But And that is what some of the distractions are. Okay. Everyone is not the one, all right, to that has the message for you. Now, there are some, okay, and you need to learn yourself in order to be able to decipher that.
Yes.
You need to be able to connect with your own peoples, your own peeps,
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
in order to be able to recognize and know the warning signs and really listen to
You
your
know, grandma,
soul.
grandma's not going to lead you down the wrong path.
No.
Like she didn't do it in life, and she's not going to do it in, in the afterlife, in the spiritual
Mhm.
realm. Like you can rely on yourself. You can rely on your own spirit. Your higher self is going to keep you in alignment with your destiny, with your purpose here. Your ancestors want you, like your ancestors be excited. They be excited, like when you come to them. They be waiting for you to come and talk to them and be a part, like allow them to be a part of your life. They be waiting for it. And so you just take that step to be, to start that relationship with them. Watch how they like. Watch how the universe begins to shift your life. Look how the creator will change you from internal within yourself, and then allow that to pour out of you. You will become the lotus flower,
Mm-hmm.
growing from
Making
out of murky waters into a beautiful flower. Like, yes.
just from that simple connection. Jennifer says we are taught that those small changes in the environment are coincidences when it's
Mm-hmm.
actually our higher self or our ancestors connected with our ancestors sending us the messages.
That's
Okay?
true.
Sending us the messages, the spirit of discernment. Come on, people, bring it. Okay, bring that understanding. And that is what comes from that awakening. It's like all of those lies that we were told, all of those things that we were told to suppress, you know, in that are the answers. In that is you. It's
Yes.
removing you from yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And the etheric check, the enchanted life, the journey is one that takes you there.
Yes.
Okay. For yourself.
Yes. For
For
yourself.
yourself.
Yet,
With the assistance of guides.
exactly. Again, I'm so thankful that I have been blessed to have my teachers walk with me hand in hand every step of the way. I'm so blessed for those guides, for those mentors, and now they are my family. There's no separation between that. I'm so thankful because it made the journey a little bit easier. It
Mm-hmm.
it helped to have somebody who can say to me, no, don't get off track. Go ahead and still do your meditation. Oh, don't get off track. Make sure you go to the altars. Oh, that happened to you. Oh, that's so exciting. Make sure you offer your ancestors something. Go outside and go outside and spend some time with the, you having headaches? Go outside and spend some time with the sun. It helped to keep me focused on what the reality of life is instead of the illusion, when there's so many things that are conspiring to keep us distracted. It helped to have guides to keep me focused and determined and motivated and inspired. And these people are who I confided in. These are the people that, like, yes, like I am able, like I healed myself. We all have to take responsibility and accountability for ourselves if we want to create our reality. That's part of it. But then on the other hand, these people help to heal me along the way. And I
Yeah.
can't overlook that. And so in the process of creating the enchanted life, that was our goal, was to create this environment that you are always constantly guided, supported, mentored as you go through this spiritual transition, so that by the time you are ready to walk on your own, you feel the fullness of that power still, and you still have a place to go that
Mm-hmm.
that feels like home, that feels like tribe. that is tribe.
That is tribe. That is tribe. And the place where you can come back to and be safe. Okay. Safety. Okay. Maslow hierarchy of needs. The basics.
Yes.
Okay. Safety. All right. Where you're understood, where you can just rest.
Yes.
Okay. And when somebody's not directing you to someone else, but to yourself.
Yes.
Okay. But to yourself. Instead of all of these other people and places, and all of those things help facilitate that. But at the end of the day, at the end of the rainbow, okay, it's you.
It's you. You have to do the work. We all have to do the work. Nobody is coming to save us.
Exactly.
You must do the work. That's it.
And it's not that complicated. And it's so interesting that the information is there. The information is there, but now we are not connecting ourselves with that. All right. We are not connecting ourselves with the information. We have been blinded. Okay. We've been blinded by the light, by the microwave, by the, instantaneous.
Yes.
When it's just sit down, shut the up. Okay. And listen to your soul. We're running away from that. We are running away from that. And I know that because I've been there.
We all have. One of the key things in this is be comfortable in silence.
Yes.
Sometimes, we feel like shut the fuck up. And we can also in our own minds really be in there like, shut the fuck up. I'm telling you to shut up. And it won't happen. But once you learn how to cultivate yourself through meditation, through breath work, and learn to be comfortable in silence, then all the messages and the downloads can come through a clear vessel and not get jumbled in the process. And so that's what we want to do.
That's what we want to do. We're going longer. We don't have no time frame. Okay. You need to go get some water or whatever. Do that. But this message is important, and we're doing it here in the Enchanted expression. So just an example of shut the fuck up. Okay. For some people know that I had a pretty popular online show. Okay. I had an amazing year. Okay. In the year of the pandemic, where I was on over 150, okay, in a year broadcast. Wow. Okay. And opportunities to talk. And it was called Talks with Tanya. And we did some talking. At the end of December, I was exhausted. Yes. I was exhausted. And I was called to stillness. Now, I'm pretty known for telling people shut the fuck up. Okay. Well, and I've been for years. I mean, in corporate America as well. I mean, I wouldn't say it at the board meeting. Well, not technically. But when I was called to that and have been called to that myself, the only place, okay, that I've been allowed to express has been here.
We're so thankful
for here. And it was like my ancestors know and have given me the gift of allowing others to speak and speaking myself, but I was in the wrong place. It served its purpose. It served its purpose, but that's not what my purpose is any longer. All right. My purpose is to be here, okay, and to listen and to share and to elevate those in a community where I can support people listening to themselves.
Yes. Thank you to your ancestors.
Themselves. You know, so enchanted expressions beyond the conversation.
Yes.
Okay, because we were taught very well. Many of us that have the gift of expression were taught very well, okay, how to talk and say nothing. You know, that is not allowed here.
Okay.
Okay, beyond the conversation, and beyond that conversation is here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is here in that sacred space,
Yes.
in that sacred space that we have. And
Mm-hmm.
I am here to say that here's the way. You know, when I taught classes, I would start by immediately giving people the answers to the test. Okay. Everyone came looking for the answers. So let's not get distracted. Let me give you the answers. Let me tell you what it is that you need to know at the end. And then let's walk through the paces.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is the answer.
Mm.
Okay. This is the answer. And the answer is you. The
Yes.
answer is each and every one of us. And
Yes.
this is the way.
Yes.
Okay, by making that connection, by loving ourselves, by doing the work, by venerating our ancestors, by discovering what it is that our way, our ancestors' way of
Yes.
doing things, you know, and becoming successful and elevating is. All right,
Mm-hmm.
people would say, don't believe the hype. Really, don't believe the hype. Okay, you got to know it for yourself.
You have to. Mm-hmm.
For yourself. So once we kind of, you know, have gone through the basics, what's next?
I mean, everybody is on their own path. Everybody is on their own path. One of the things that we strive for here is a holistic. I don't, we Conjure myself don't necessarily want to teach everything. So we are creating continuing education classes to develop you even further, depending on what it is that you want to learn, as far as like divination, energy work, nutrition is coming, just all kinds of things of that nature. And then, of course, we have erotica. Now, um, with the with the erotica, we do only present erotica for etheric touch graduates and alumni. And the reason why is because from the perspective that we teach, those are the basics. That is your foundation. And you have to be able to build that foundation prior to you getting into the work of the erotica, the tantra, the divine sacred union. And so, yes, we
Mm-hmm.
do that. The juiciness has to come at some point.
The juiciness has to come at some point. And so, you know, I'm a little seasoned,
Well,
some
little
people say.
season, no.
And it's something actually that the world teaches us not to talk about. And I'm just going to speak from being a woman,
Yes.
okay? That we're steered away from it. What we're shown is that we are nasty, that we are abominations, that we are hoes, that we shouldn't touch ourselves, that we shouldn't learn ourselves, that we shouldn't say the word pussy, you know. Uh, when in fact it is at the
Say
core
pussy.
of what our power is. Okay. You know, there's power in the pussy.
It
Okay.
is. Absolutely.
And it's the power where everyone can benefit. And I don't mean necessarily in a way that everyone gets there, because look, less and less people get there once you understand what it is.
Good gracious.
Okay, beyond the conversation, just talk.
Yeah. What's up,
Just talk. And unless we begin to release ourselves, we're not going to know ourselves fully. How is it that, the erotica experience helps us to earn that discovery?
I find it really, interesting, right? Because there's this big taboo about sexuality in our society. It's a big taboo. We don't want to talk to our children about it. We just want them to know and listen to us. Sometimes we see children really being embarrassed dramatically through social media because of things that they are exploring at the ages that they should be exploring.
Mm-hmm.
We have taken sexuality and made it so taboo in our society that some people feel guilt behind having sex before marriage,
Mm-hmm.
or having guilt because they have urges, or they want to be able to express their sensuality and their sexuality. Our society has made it taboo to be a fully expressed woman, being able to be fully in her divine feminine. And all of that is interesting to me because sex is how we got here. If it was not for sex, how would any of us exist? What does that mean? It means that this is the most powerful energy that we have to work with here in this realm. It's really the only energy. And if we understood that through the act of sex, what is happening on a very basic physical level is that, which is not even basic, is still magic, is still majestic, is that we're taking a spirit out of the spirit realm and bringing them into physical manifestation through the act of the divine masculine and the divine feminine having this interplay with each other in order for this divine being to be born. And so, with that being said, if we understand it kinda, now we see in our society that women are rushed out the hospital. They're not getting properly treated at the hospital when they're giving birth and things of that nature. That's just on the physical level. But if we understood it a step further than that, then what we understand is sexual energy becomes life force energy, becomes spiritual energy. And so if you're depleted of your sexual energy, you're going to have a really hard time being able to truly harness and connect with your spiritual energy, because it has to go through this transformational process in order for you to be able to fully transform it into spiritual energy. And so what we see a lot of is the suppression of the sexual energy. What we see a lot of is an abuse of it, like taking a golden ball being given to you and just throwing it recklessly all around the room, thinking it's not going to, tear stuff up or break. This is what we're seeing now. We're seeing the recklessness of how sexual energy is being used.
Yes.
How do we know that? Well, because we see chaos and violence and sexual oppression and rape. Like, these are all byproducts of the recklessness of how sex is being used, of the taboo of sex. And so when we start to understand that expression, like, we understand that sexual energy is really spiritual energy, or let me say it differently. If we understood that spiritual energy is really sexual energy in its highest nature, and that we could use the power of our sexual energy to empower ourselves, to heal ourselves, to truly connect with the divine, and to manifest. We're going to bypass that power and continue to do things the same? Or are we going to embrace it, understand what it is, harness it, and use it for our potential, for our benefit, which ultimately will help to heal us, which again will ultimately heal the world? Like, it's the same thing. The formula is so simple, but we have made but we've forgotten. I don't even want to say we've made it hard. We have forgotten, and we want us to remember now. And specifically as women, like, so much has been taken from the ability to fully express yourself as the divine feminine. And this is not I'm not saying that they weren't women warriors, because the Dahomey tribe, which I come from, like, let's not even get into that. However, there's a place that we can naturally tap in to the fullness of our magic, and the ability to be receptive, and the ability to tap into the source within, and the ability of understanding that we truly have our wombs is a microcosm to the macrocosm. We have a whole solar system within our being that we can tap into, but it takes you being receptive. It takes you being able to go within yourself to tap into it. And then what naturally happens, because you can feel the energy, because the energy starts like the snake, right? That's sensuality. It starts to squirm. It starts to squirm and rise and erect itself within you. And then what you think you have to learn for sensuality becomes naturally expressed, because you can feel the energy within you at all times. Your pussy has a personality. Your pussy has a voice. She be talking to us all the time. Y'all know she be talking to you all the time, because we can go in a club and see a fine brother and be like, oh, he can get it. He can get it now. Yes, Lord, he can get it. And then and then in that same club, some rusty dusty with no teeth, holy clothes come up and she'll be like, oh, hell no, bitch. What you doing? Like, come on, we gotta go. So we know that she got her own voice, but a lot of times we are not listening. We don't know how to listen to her. We have been taught to hate her.
Mm-hmm.
We have been taught to hate her, to disregard her. The only time we focus on her is during our menstrual cycle, and that be really like tumultuous. We have oppressed her voice, and it's now time for liberation. Right now, what we are experiencing on this planet is the rise of the divine feminine. It's the awakening of the divine feminine on this planet. What does that mean? That means it's time for us to tap back into the source of our being. It means that the magical cauldron, the sacred cave, the nectar needs to be balanced. It needs to be energized. It needs to be expressed. And when somebody has the pleasure of being able to enter into that sacred cave, that person should be in worship, because he's before the living altar of the divine. And it shouldn't be anything other than that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's just a little bit of how we go in with erotica. Just a little, from our perspective.
And it is very effective.
Well, yes.
It is very effective. Again, we're talking about awakening. Okay, we're talking about awakening. We're talking about connecting with where we came from, okay, and what the practices were. So I was teaching a course, a study on the red tent.
Mm-hmm.
And I just heard it's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which is related to the Moon Lodge. Okay, yes. So that just as it is important, it is a component of self-care.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Okay, it is a component of self-care. And we have allowed, what the world, has shown us, what the world has disrespected, what the world has, preyed violence upon, to suppress it. Without expressing and operating in that power. And it is essential. It is an essential part. It is the part that should be spoken about.
Yes.
All right. Back in the red tent, when you were a little girl, that's where you hung out. All right. So that you can learn from the elders. Okay. You can learn about how to avoid the abuses. You could learn about how to really manage your sacredness.
Yes.
And what we allowed the world to do was to steal that from us.
Yes.
Okay, to burn the books that had
Yes.
anything to do with it. All right. And we have been, not only physically raped and pillaged and stolen, the same thing has happened to us mentally.
Yes.
And so the ability to be able to manifest, okay, not only birthing, another human being that nobody else can do.
That part.
That part, okay. Science is trying to divide and this, that, and the other thing and make little aliens or whatever. That's a subject for another day.
Yes.
There's a place for that. But we are not operating in our fullness. We are not operating in our ability to create and manifest that same power that is in your womb, okay, exist in you.
Yes.
Okay, exist in you. So whether or not you have a womb or not, they could take it all. They could take it away. They didn't took mine. Okay. But I was able to discover it again. They didn't take
That's
that.
right.
Okay. They took the physical. Okay. They took the physical. And in spite of that, okay, when we go through the process, all right, self-love, dealing with the shadows, learning the techniques, connecting with your ancestors, you are able to birth miracles.
Yes.
Okay, manifestations that turn into things.
Yes.
Okay,
Absolutely.
that will give you the love that you seek, but you got to find it in yourself first.
Yes.
Here we go. I don't know. I was just going.
All of that is on point. One of the things I wanted to add on, like, yes, so in indigenous cultures, we had the Moon Lodge, and the Moon Lodge was this place that women only. If there were men involved, it was there to serve, but mostly it was women serving other women who was dealing with, their menstrual cycle. So other women would come to help, have you rest, relax. You get to conjugate, laugh, play, enjoy. Nothing was off limits in the Moon Lodge. And then with the red tent was created as a rites of passage for young women who were coming into the Moon Lodge. And so it was, expected that when they began their menstrual cycle, their real training into womanhood began. And those conversations began. And she started understanding that she was, hosting the divine within herself, and that she had the right to invite people into her space and not just allow any and everything to come through, nor did she have to feel forced, persuaded into it. Like, she already knew who she was, so she decided who was coming into her space. And then from that, she was able to learn about femininity and flirtation and seduction and dance and sensuality and, the senses and all of these other things. But it was because of the elders that were there. And it was because of the ability to speak freely. Yes. About what we all need to understand, because we all are going to do at some point in our lives. And instead of it being, and so many of the taboos again that we see is because of the suppression. But if we get our babies back, if we start pouring into our babies, but if we start pouring into ourselves, and then if we understand there's really no competition amongst us, like, I want for my sisters, I want for myself. You are my reflection. You compliment me. We compliment each other. You being in your power is not taken away from mine. It's adding to, it's expanding to the light that we are. And so our ability to be able to come together and share a sacred space and really be able to talk about sensuality, sexuality, pussy, the nectars, amarisa, soma, and the benefits that come from understanding the formula that you're using every time you're engaging, and what that is doing, whether it's draining you, is it taking from you, or is it empowering you? And that's something we should know. That's something that we should know. Like, is this, and this is in all of our encounters, is this relationship taking from me, or is it empowering me? Because if it's draining me, then it shouldn't be a part of me. I'm going to have to eliminate it. But if we're going to talk about, things that are going to empower me, then you understand, like, I see soma. Yes, soma is medicine. If you drink in the nectar of the woman, they call that the Holy Grail, and the fountain of youth, immortality. From drinking of unto us, those are our juices. So if you know that you're considered the fountain of youth, right? If you understand that you are the Holy Grail, you're gonna make sure that she's right. Are you gonna be eating the right food so that she'll have the right sweetness? Are you gonna make sure that she's smelling right? Are you gonna know what she tastes like? Are you gonna understand how she feels? Have you explored her? What she look like? You're gonna take care of her because she's the Holy Grail, But we are not taught these things. Therefore, we don't remember. And so now what we see is the result of that non-remembering. But our goal is to awaken that thought again, that process, that concept in your life. So
a woman is a 12-course meal.
You better sell it.
And there is no shame. I'm just pressed to say this. There is no shame in when or how you come to this sacred knowledge. Okay? Because I ain't noticed till recently. Okay? And no matter when it is that you discover it, okay, no matter when it is that you discovering it can still benefit you. It was just the time for you. And when you give to yourself, okay, you are able to receive in all ways, all ways. And I thought that it was so important for us to talk about that. We get our tongues wagging and stuff. We get all excited about it and stuff, but this is the truth. Okay, if you want to understand the essence of your power, go within, get with the shadows, move through the golden light, and begin to explore the sacred in you.
Yes.
The sacred in you. It's not too late. It is not too late.
I agree. One of the things society makes you feel like is that if you have not accomplished certain things before you turn 30, that like life is over or something. And what we're seeing more of in society is like older people going back to college and things of that nature. The main thing is that you're right on time. In every way. And every day. You're right on time. This is not a rat. This specifically, this transitional process is not a rat race. It is a journey. And one of the things my husband would tell me to help to calm me and ground me was, let's stop and see the flowers. Let's smell the flowers and see the butterflies on this journey. And what that does is like, so we're just gonna, kind of take our time, explore, discover, enjoy, find the pleasures in as we are walking. Baby steps, really. Baby steps. Like, let's enjoy the process. Let's, really bring it into ourselves, whatever that is for you. It's never too late because breath still is in your body. Spirit is still there. And if right now you are feeling the calling, then it's time to follow the calling of your soul. And whatever that journey may look like for you, yes, we want you to be a part of the tribe if you feel called to be a part of the tribe. But if you didn't, still go on the journey. Like, don't miss out on the journey because you may not have found your guide yet. Don't miss out on the journey because you may have not found your teacher yet. what's going to happen is that your soul and your spirit is going to attract them to you. Like when how I say it, when the student is ready, the teacher
will appear.
appears. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. So allow that to happen. Don't be in such a rush for everything to be like the way you think it should right away. Take your time and enjoy the journey and enjoy the adventure, and understand that everything is happening in divine timing.
Yes, Lord.
You know?
Everything is happening in divine timing. We could go on and on with this. I just wanted to make sure that our collective, okay, really begins to understand or to remember the importance of the basic elements. People are running around looking for the keys to success. You cannot scroll through, read a paper, watch a TV, or anything without someone presenting you with their solution. Okay, how to win in business, how to make $1 million, how to make 6 figures in 5 minutes, how to do all of those things. But it takes work. And unless you begin with yourself, okay, unless you begin with yourself, it really is all for the naught. You're standing on shaky ground.
Yes.
Standing on shaky ground. We have not gotten to the foundation of what it is that we're called to do and the path in order to get there. So you have coming up, okay, some opportunities for folks to learn a little bit more and to get more information about the journey itself. Tell us about that.
Okay. So we are enrolling for the Etheric Touch Healing System Certification Program beginning on March. No, we're in March. We're almost through with March. I'm in May. Beginning in May, on May 15th, we will begin our self-care level component of the Etheric Touch. This level is 8 weeks long. I'm really excited about it. One of the things that I can say is that our current students have played a tremendous part in indicating that they, like what it is that they felt they needed to enhance their journeys. And one of the things that they have said is that they wanted more time through the levels. So we have decided to split the levels up again into 8-week segments. So the first level will begin on May 15th, 2021 with self-care, 8 weeks. Now, if you decide that you would like to enroll in the Etheric Touch, during the enrollment process, we will go ahead and get you scheduled for an orientation and your initial astrology natal chart reading with our house astrologer, Mambo Josie, she's phenomenal. Okay, phenomenal at what she does. We'll go ahead and get you settled with that. You will have a one-on-one consultation, most likely with Madre, but there's no way to say for sure. And then we will begin the course work, which in that process, I am now happy to tell you all that we also have been able to implement a big sister program. So not only do you have us to walk with you on this journey, but you have your own personal mentor that will be walking with you as you go through the 8-week course with us. In this 8 weeks, we will be discussing energy, who you are in relation to energy, and this planet and nature. We will teach you about meditation and the chakras and how to move up the ladder, as Miss Tanya, Miss Nirka said earlier, how to elevate up the ladder through meditation, through sound harmonics, and through Qigong. And then by the time the 8 weeks are up, you should also be able to schedule your first attunement. And yeah, that's the totality of the 8 week course. Right now, we are our price for the full 8 weeks is $1,200 with a $200 deposit. So if you are interested, you can go to our website, www.enchantedlifellc.com, and go to ET prices and planning, and both the deposit is there as well as the full the payment plans that we have available, and we will get you started in the process. Now, I do want to just mention that one of the things that we do is ask for our collective ancestors to agree that we work together. So once the deposit is given, we go through that process of the agreement between our collective ancestors, and then you will get set on track for the orientation and the program.
Absolutely, absolutely wonderful. It is a great way to begin your journey within. For those of you seeking the awakening, okay,
Yes.
your own personal awakening, this is the place to start, okay, with yourself. It all starts within. It all starts within. You've got to begin there, and it is life changing, and something that will change the life not only of yourself but generations that come after you, or with you. It is, really. I'm so very grateful, to the throngs of my ancestors
Look, because you got a lot.
that continue to reveal themselves. I'm so grateful to, the work that they did, to the to the constant, reminders that they sent, in spite of me not being in a place to understand or receive, so that I could begin this journey and really get to living that enchanted life, because it is that. It
Yes.
is that. So, beloved Osuntola, yes, this has been wonderful. We will come back again because it's our space.
So thank you so much. Look, Madre, we are forever thankful for everything you do, for how you bless us all the time in so many ways. People do not know how much you assist with making everything flow. You are quite literally like the heart. You bring all the energy into the collective, and we cannot express how thankful we are that you walk with us. Thank you so much for believing. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your love. Thank you for standing with us.
It
And thank you
is
to your ancestors.
what's that?
And thank you to your ancestors, because yes, they have come through in so many ways. So yes, we just give
They
thanks.
always show up at the tea party, right?
We expect them now.
Yes, we be setting the table like, all right, come on, y'all.
Exactly. Yes. Thank
We
you.
need to hear from you. This has been beautiful. I want to let our audience know that, Enchanted Expressions is currently twice a month. We never know when we'll have a pop up. But our next scheduled guest is Mambo Josie herself. Woo!
Yes.
Like, unless you have connected with understanding, what the universe has to say, what the planets have to say, what the stars have to say, you ain't going in the right direction. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Okay. So stay tuned again. I appreciate it. And I love you. I love you. I love you, beloved. Bendiciones. Santitas. All right, everyone. Stay inspired. Peace.
My